Greetings and welcome to Miles More Motivation, the show that is designed to give you more happiness, fulfillment, and obviously more motivation. In this episode today, we're going to specifically talk about finding your purpose. You know, I get a lot of messages, a lot of clients who always bring up this subject of how do you find your purpose? Miles, how do I find my purpose? How do I know that what I'm doing is my purpose? And in this video, I'm going to share with you 3 very common sense, but not necessarily common practice ways to help you find your purpose and help you to ensure that the road that you're currently on is ultimately going to lead you to wherever it is that you want to go in life. But first, I want to kind of start by telling you a story. If you were with me 12 years ago, I was in a great job, well-paid job, traveling all around the country, working 10 months of the year, selling fitness memberships around the country. And it was a great job. I kind of thought I would never leave, right? But then one rainy day in November, 12 years ago in Nottingham, I had the unfortunate news that I was going to be let go. And, you know, maybe you can relate to that. Maybe you've been let go. Maybe you've had some news that you didn't expect, but I definitely wasn't expecting to be let go that day. And it really left me questioning my purpose. But as I went through the next few months of kind of trying to find myself and find my feet and bouncing from job to job, I eventually kind of landed in the world of personal development. I started reading books. I started listening to audio programs. I didn't have podcasts back then. God, I sound old. But then I started to watch YouTube videos, and next thing you know, I'm going to seminars and courses, and I'm starting to kind of find my way a little bit, starting to kind of find my place in the world, and eventually started a business that grew to work with some of the biggest fitness centers and gyms in the world, Miles More members. And the next thing you know, I'm coaching kind of big brands like Fitness First and Easy Gym all around the country. And then fast forward a few years, I'm running a coaching organization, and now life is very different. Now I'm in a position where I'm not only married to the woman of my dreams, but I'm coaching when I want. This coronavirus pandemic, as we have in this situation right now, is affecting a lot of people. And I'm very lucky that I have a client base that I'm working with remotely. We're working on the phone, on Zoom calls, and my income actually has gone up during this period. So I don't tell you that to brag. I tell you that because I got really clear on what my purpose was and really clear about the kind of business I wanted to build, and was really kind of thought about what if this happened and that happened, and hadn't ever thought about a coronavirus pandemic, but I definitely thought, you know, what if kind of the world kind of goes to shit and I'm not able to go and travel places, right? And I thought I need a business that would allow me to do that. So anyway, I'm going to share with you 3 things in this video that if right now you're watching this video and you're not clear about whether you have the right purpose, whether you are living on purpose, these 3 things are going to be really helpful to make sure that you are getting the level of clarity around this area that you ultimately need. The first point that I want to share with you is what I call dot connection. If you've never seen Steve Jobs' Stanford University address before the late great Steve Jobs passed away, beautiful man, I love Steve Jobs, a raving fan. He talks about, forgive me for not getting the exact wording, but he says you can't connect the dots looking forwards in life in terms of finding your purpose. You can only connect the dots looking backwards. And so what I interpreted that as was when I looked backwards on my dots, from selling fitness to the general public, to creating a dating coaching business, which was simply because I couldn't get a date at the time. It's a story for another video, to starting a sales coaching business with gyms, to doing life coaching, which I'm doing now, and other many things in between. Ultimately, all that work was about facilitating change at a neurological and emotional level for human beings. There was no random IT engineer. There was no I'm going to become a cable guy or I'm going to become a plumber. It was all human connection, emotional, transformational change from one human being to another. And when I connect the dots looking backwards, I'm able to see that what I'm doing now is effectively just a different reinterpretation of what I've always been doing for the past 20 years, right? So take the time to look back on your life and go, what is it that I've done over the past 10, 15 years, and think about the things that ultimately, whether you've said you've enjoyed them or not, I know people that will say, they've been teachers for 20 years, and they say, oh, I'm sick of it, but they still do it, right? So there's a part of them that obviously loves it, otherwise they'd have quit. So maybe right now, if they're a teacher and they're going, but I don't want to be a teacher in a school, like my wife maybe will say, then maybe you set up a business where you're teaching on your own terms. Maybe it's the environment you don't love anymore, but you still love the profession. So think about that. Next, this is a really powerful thing. I can't remember where I read this, but it basically says you need to think about purpose in terms of multi-purpose. Multi-purpose. What does that mean? Well, what that means is a lot of people are trying to find their purpose, and what they don't realize is that we all have multiple purposes. If you're a parent, you have a purpose as a parent. If you are a partner, you have a significant other, you have a purpose as a significant other. And often a lot of reasons why relationships and marriages have problems is because those two purposes intertwine, or one partner in the relationship that has 3 kids focuses so much on their purpose as a parent that they forget to focus on their purpose as a partner, and then conflict happens, right? You have a purpose as a person to look after your health. And if that right now your health is not where you want it to be, you're not fulfilling your purpose in the area of health. In your business, in your career, you have a purpose. So a lot of people, when they talk about, I don't know what my purpose is, I can't find my purpose, it's because they don't realize that we actually probably have dozens of different purposes. When you are spending time with your extended family, you have a purpose. When you go food shopping, you have a purpose. We all can have different purposes for different situations and for different environments and for with different people. And when we allow ourselves to recognize that, it liberates us from thinking that it has to be one overarching thing. I have a purpose as a life coach. I have a purpose as a husband to Sati. I now have a purpose as a father to Sage. I have a purpose for my health. Recognize the fact that you have multiple purposes, and that will free you from thinking that you just have one, all right? It's powerful if you take the time to let that sink in. And the last thing, which is stolen from a brilliant band, which I absolutely love, is called Joy Division. What this ultimately means is you've got to ask yourself the question as you embark on this compass of finding purpose, which is, what brings you joy? Like, what brings you joy, and are you doing enough of the things that bring you joy? For example, Facebook Lives like this bring me joy. Coaching clients bring me joy. Working out brings me joy. Being in the sunshine, going on a holiday, spending time with Sati, spending time with Sage brings me joy. Powerful conversation with friends brings me joy. Going to seminars, going to workshops, listening to podcasts brings me joy. Do you have a joy list? And are you doing everything on that joy list on a daily basis? If you don't have a list of 5 or 6 things that you could call them hobbies, but I just call them the joy division. If you don't have a division of joy, and by division, they don't need to be in a particular order, but if you don't have a division, if you don't have like a box set of joy that you go to every single day and it's scheduled in, like one of my things that I have scheduled in every day is I watch an episode of Impractical Jokers every day. If you've never seen Impractical Jokers, it's 4 guys from New York. You can find them on YouTube. And I watch about 20 minutes of them every single morning. Makes me belly laugh. And I couldn't think of anything more important than laughing first thing in the morning, right? It just makes me feel good. That's part of my joy. Conscious laughter first hour of the morning. It's part of my joy division. So you need to ask yourself, what is in your joy division? Do you even have a joy division? And if you don't, you want to create one, and you want to make sure that you have at least 10 to 15 things every single day that you make sure you do every single day. I kind of call them miles is musts. So you want to make sure you're doing your miles is must, and make sure you're dipping into your joy division and doing everything on that list. Everything on that list every single day. Otherwise, it's not going to make you feel good. So that's it. I hope you found this video useful. If you have, click like, click share, book a coaching call. There's a link below to book a coaching call with me so we can explore this a lot deeper. But for now, have a great day. Miles of Motivation.